Not every equation in life is a one or two step process. More often, problems require multiple steps before a solution can be reached, and just as in life, math has a natural order to follow when dealing with these problems. In this video and in this series, we're talking about that order, the order of operations. So you could ask, how important is order to mathematics? We'll take a look at this example. When we work from left to right, we get that the answer is 8/3. But take another look, and you could also get 4, or 20, or 24 from the same equation. In a crunch, and without any rules to guide you, how will you know which one is right? The order of operations gives us a straightforward approach so that this kind of uncertainty never happens. Now, as far as we know, the order is as old as mathematics itself. It's existed in one form or another for centuries. In fact, you probably know it by a different name, PEMDAS. PEMDAS, of course, means, what does PEMDAS mean again? Oh, right, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Right? Right? Well, not really. PEMDAS actually means parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. 6 very important arithmetic operations. When more than one of these symbols is present in an equation, PEMDAS is the order you'll solve them in. Over this and the next 6 videos, we'll discuss each operation, but today we'll start from the bottom and talk about 5 things you need to know about subtraction. Let's start off with the definition. The first thing you should know is that subtraction is an operation that decreases the value of a number by a set amount. It's performed by using a horizontal bar between the two numbers. We call this bar a subtraction sign, but it's also called a minus sign. It's helpful to think of subtraction in terms of money. So let's say you have a piggy bank at home that you know has $100 in it, but you need to take some money out. Just taking $1 out of the bank removes one of $100 from the total balance. This can be described as subtracting 1 from 100, and the result is that $99 are still left. Taking out additional dollars subtracts them from the total balance too. Each time you remove $1, your balance goes down by the number of dollars you removed. This is the essence of subtraction, starting at some value and watching that value fall as pieces of it are taken away. In a purely theoretical sense, remember that operations like subtraction can also be drawn on the number line. Start by drawing your 0, then drawing negative numbers to the right of that and positive numbers to the left. By default, the direction of subtraction is to move to the right on the number line. So if we start at 5 and subtract 4, we'll wind up at 1. If we start at -3 and subtract 4, we'll wind up at -7. Now that we've had that reminder, let's move on. The second thing you need to remember about subtraction is that order matters. If you change the order of the numbers in a subtraction problem, you're going to change the answer. As shown here, 5 minus 3 equals 2, but 3 minus 5 equals -2. As a rule of thumb, remember that this can be backwards in word problems. We can describe this problem as 5 take away 3, but we can also say we took 3 from 5, so keep it straight. We'll revisit this when we cover addition next time. Number 3 on this list is a warning. Subtraction is not the only place you'll see the subtraction sign in mathematics. The same sign is also used to show that a number is negative. Don't panic though. Identifying both uses is easy. If the sign is placed between two numbers and it's the only sign there, it's always subtraction. On the other hand, if the sign is in front of a number but nothing comes before the sign, or if it's between two numbers and it's one of two signs there, then it'll always be negative. If that sounds confusing, back up. Just remember that subtraction is between two numbers, so the sign should always be between numbers or values. On the flip side, negatives describe the value of the numbers themselves, so negative signs can be anywhere. Also, if there are ever two signs between numbers, as in example 3 here, it means the numbers afterwards are always negative. Negative, negative, always, always negative. Always. If you're still confused, don't fret. Negative numbers as a topic trip up students, adults, and many mathematicians alike. If you're going for perfect clarity, the most accurate way to think of subtraction in general is that you are adding a negative number to another number. This means positive values go down towards 0 and negative values get more negative. There's more to this topic than we have time for, so we'll save that for a future video. In the meantime, let's talk about negatives being subtracted. Remember that negatives or minuses cancel in pairs, so if you ever see two negatives or two minuses, they'll cancel out and leave you with a positive number being added instead. In our example here, we have 5 minus a negative 3. Now the double negatives cancel, which leaves us with 5 plus 3, which, as we know, should be 8. While we're still talking about negatives, let's move to number 4. Negative numbers break the rules of subtraction. Now we'll do a more in-depth exploration of how and why this happens later. For now, let's just take a look at some examples. Here, notice that we're again facing a double negative. 10 minus a negative 4 equates to 10 plus 4, and 10 plus 4 is 14. In example 2, notice we have negative 10 minus 4. We would expect this to be taken away from negative 10, but instead we're going further negative, which brings us to negative 14. And in the case of number 3, notice negative 10 minus a negative 4. We have double negatives again, so they cancel. Negative 10 plus 4 is negative 6. Finally, the fifth and final thing you'll need to remember about subtraction is that fractions cannot be subtracted unless their denominators, those numbers at the bottom, are the same. Remember that if they're not the same, you'll have to use the LCM, that's least common multiple or lowest common multiple, between the two denominators to make them the same. With subtraction and addition, the only term that's being subtracted or added is the top numerator of each fraction. You'll see this again when we cover addition. Now that we've made it through the list, take a moment, pause this video, and try these practice problems. I'll see you after the countdown. How'd you do? If you have any questions about these problems or any like them, leave a comment below and visit our YouTube channel. Visit us on the web at HarmoniousMath.com and follow us on Twitter at HarmoniousMath. Next time we'll be covering the next step in PEMDAS, addition. That's all for now. Thank you for watching. See you next time, and remember, it's all mathematics.